All right, Kathy's, we are back. Another episode of Group Chat. We have a special guest today. It's really interesting because, we are in and out of politics. We come in when Trump says something funny. We like to talk about it. During election season, we'll talk about politics. And we've talked ad nauseum, if you're listening to the podcast for the last 9 years, about specifically LA politics and California politics. And I would say this is probably the only alignment politically we have is that it's pretty bad.
You mean me, you, and drama?
Yes.
Yeah.
Politically, that's like the only time we've been aligned.
Yeah.
Is that whatever's happened in California and LA politically is pretty bad.
Probably on the wrong trajectory.
Yeah, wrong trajectory. So a few weeks ago, a friend of ours, Paris, introduced me to Ethan Agarwal, who is running for governor of California.
Governor of California.
Wow.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Right before we first met, I looked you up and you look like you sold a business. Looks like you have some money. Why the fuck do you want to do this?
I sold 2 businesses.
Oh, so you're really rich.
You can only imagine. No. It's, yeah, well, look, I don't think having money or not having money should factor into this kind of decision. I'm running because you said it, man. The place is a mess. And I have 2 little kids. I have 2 boys. And, you want to make the world better than it is for yourself. You want to make it better for your kids, right? And I grew up in California. And in the 90s, California was amazing. Awesome. It was incredible. And everyone was moving here. And it was the place to be. I remember when I went to college, I went to Baltimore. And, you meet your sort of...
Baltimore means what?
Johns Hopkins.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
I hate the city. That's a big pet peeve over here. People say I went to school in Boston. I went to school.
I wasn't doing the Harvard thing. I wasn't doing the Harvard thing. I was actually trying to do the opposite, which is not mention it. Not that Baltimore. Anyway, I wasn't doing the Harvard thing. To be clear, I didn't go outside Boston or whatever the fuck they. Can I curse on this podcast?
As much as you want.
Okay. Anyway, I was at school at Johns Hopkins and, you meet your dorm and we're all sitting around and talking and everyone's like, where are you from? Where are you from? And someone's like, oh, I'm from Delaware. And we all make fun of it. And I said, I'm from California. And it was like, oh, he's from California.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's not the case anymore. Now it's like, oh, you're from California. Isn't your state on fire? Or aren't there homeless people shooting meth everywhere?
Yeah.
And they're kind of right about that.
Yeah. 100%.
And so that pisses me off because this is a high potential place. So I kind of want to fix it.
I mean, just to add to what you're saying, my friends, I went to a school in South Central, and so which has a lot of international folks that come to USC, and they think we're on fire. Not just literally, but they think, can you go to the grocery store? Can you go? They actually believe it.
It's not a totally unrealistic thing to say. Yeah. I mean, you go to Walgreens, fucking deodorant for $5 is locked up behind a screen.
Yeah. Deodorant's 10, by the way, now.
Oh, my bad. You wear fancy deodorant. I wear regular deodorant.
Lexard spray. It's $9.95.
So organic's 20? Because that's a whole big thing.
Forget it. You got to sell 2 companies to have organic.
The Erewhon deodorant is $30. Yeah. No, but why is deodorant behind a lock screen at Walgreens? Right? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So your friends are kind of telling the truth. Yeah. It's kind of on fire.
Where did you grow up in California?
I grew up in a town called Los Gatos, which is an hour south of San Francisco. It's known because that's where Netflix started.
Got it.
Oh wow!
And it's a random tiny suburban town with no real industry. So it's a total surprise that Netflix started there. But yeah.
And then what did your parents do growing up?
Well, so both my parents are from India. My dad was a professor at McGill in Montreal for a long time. I was born in Montreal. Okay. And then, just like every other California story, he started a company in 94. He moved the family out to the Bay Area. My parents grew up very, the story they always tell us is they had a queen bed, but they could only afford double size sheets. That's the life we grew up with. And, he came here and he did really well. And I was born on, basically second or third base. And so my job is to compound that. So I'm fully aware of all the sort of things, the gifts that I've been given. Yeah. But that's true of a lot of immigrants that come here. And I don't think that the best immigrants are going to come here anymore if we don't fix what's going on.
And do you think, and I asked you this because when we met a few weeks ago, one of the things that when running for office that I think we have seen, because we've been kind of like lightly involved in California politics for a long time, is we've always felt that people are out of touch and they're not in touch with what's actually happening on the ground of these cities, of these communities. And, you know, when I asked you what high school you went to, you said Harker, which, what, top school in the country? Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Top 5?
I went to the school in San Jose.
Yeah.
So I have a ton of friends who went to Harker, and after Paris told us about you, it sounds like we have a ton of mutual friends.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Where'd you go to high school?
Down here.
Okay,
in
okay.
the valley.
Okay.
It's not fancy.
Yeah.
Went to public school.
Okay, sure. Just the valley.
So, yeah.
LAUSD. You can read the stats. But anyways, a lot of my friends know you. I think Neil Metha has
I know him well.
done stuff with you.
Yeah, he had an event for me at his house. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm pretty familiar with San Francisco because a ton of my friends live up there. And I actually want to kind of pick your brain. I don't know where you're going
go
with
for it.
But so they're super bullish on Daniel Lurie, who's the new mayor, right?
San Francisco.
Of San Francisco.
Yeah.
And they, like all my tech friends, were very involved in raising money and doing events for him. And they think he's the shot to basically clean up San Francisco. Because I've been going to San Francisco once a month for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've seen the rise, and then I saw the fall. And then now it seems a little better. What is he doing that LA is not doing? Because everyone's so bullish on this guy. And I know Bass has only been involved for 2 years, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
And we were Caruso supporters.
Yeah.
And I know everyone thinks Lurie's like the magic pill in San Francisco.
Yeah.
What do you think he's doing that's getting everyone excited?
Okay, well, the first thing he's doing is he's just enforcing the laws that we already have. We don't arrest criminals in San Francisco. We don't arrest drug dealers. We don't prosecute vandalism. Like, these are laws that are misdemeanors, felonies that are already on the books. And all he's doing is just enforcing the laws. Like, you know, running a city 101. And Karen Bass, look, my opinion is she's probably one of the worst big city mayors in America.
Yep.
I was shocked that she beat Caruso, and I selfishly hope that he runs for mayor again, largely so he doesn't run for governor, but also because I think that'll help him clean up LA in a really good way. We need to move past this notion of like, someone calls it suicidal empathy, where we are shooting ourselves in the foot by not arresting criminals and by not arresting drug dealers and by not helping people that have substance abuse problems. And we're just sort of turning a blind eye to it. And as a result, small businesses get slaughtered. I was at 3rd Avenue Promenade.
Yeah.
It's bad.
It's gotten really bad. It's like empty, basically.
It's empty.
You can't run there anymore. There's no like good businesses anymore. Nobody's going there anymore. I was like, even, I don't know, 12 years ago, I used to come here. 3rd Avenue Promenade was awesome.
Yeah.
And like Santa Monica Boulevard was awesome. And it's not anymore. It's like a bunch of empty storefronts and homeless people.
Yeah.
And it sucks as a community member, but it also sucks for the small businesses that are there. And I think literally just enforcing the laws on the books, saying that if you steal something, you're going to get arrested. If you deal drugs, you're going to get arrested. That's just like basic hygiene that any city mayor should be doing.
So how at the governor level do you have impact on like city enforcements, right? Like, because is it what's happening now is Gavin Newsom really just doesn't give a shit about anything. So he's just like, do whatever you want. Karen Bass and previous mayor of San Francisco, like, we don't really care. Why isn't there any like enforcement from a higher
there's
ups?
both. So there's a cultural thing and a legal thing. So culturally, it's set from the top. And he is now focused on running for president. And some would argue he's been focused on running for president for the last 8 years.
Yeah.
And so he is trying to not shake the boat, because the way that rock the boat, because the way that you run for president is you can't piss anyone off.
Yeah.
And so he's trying to not piss people off.
Yep.
And so he tells Bass, or before Lurie was this woman, London Breed, you do whatever you want to do, because he doesn't want to be telling these cities what to do. In reality, what he should be doing is probably declaring a state of emergency, saying that crime, homelessness, murder, et cetera, are through the roof and we're not doing anything about it. And so the Attorney General of California declares a state of emergency and says, hey, we're going to take over here and start fixing some of these problems.
Yeah.
They also need to enforce the laws that are already on the books, as we talked about. But also, like, it goes down to the DAs of these specific cities. Like, the DAs need to be empowered to say that, yeah, you are going to be supported if you send someone who's had 32 crimes already, commits a 33rd. Should we really be letting them back on the street later that afternoon? Probably not, because they're probably going to commit a 34th. And the DAs don't feel empowered to do that. So that culture needs to be set from the top. And I think this whole democratic, I don't know what you want to call it, but soft on crime thing just doesn't work.
What's the theory behind that?
The theory behind it is that they're victims. And I don't disagree with some of that. The theory behind it is that marginalized communities, Black people, Hispanic people, poor people, have been discriminated against for decades. And as a result, it's not fair to arrest them for committing crimes because they're just trying to survive in the world that has been strict to them.
So did you listen to Elon on Rogan?
He's been there like 4 times. Yeah, I've listened to all of them.
Like 3 weeks ago, I think he was on.
Yeah.
So it's really tough to fact check Elon because he says like 1,000 opinions in 3 hours. But he made the claim on Rogan, his last appearance, that the nonprofits.
Yes, this is 100% right.
Go ahead. You would know more than I would. So I just heard it on it and I was like, is this true? So he says the nonprofits in these like places where there's a lot of high ODs, drug dealers, they keep the drug dealers on premise, meaning their region of 5-6 blocks, because they get aid when the drug dealers are giving drugs to get the homeless people on fentanyl, and then they need the treatment, and then they're siphoning off the money from the aid. Is that true or false?
This is 100% true, and it's super messed up. Okay, Can I talk about this for 1 second?
Yeah.
Okay, in San Francisco and in LA and in Oakland, there's basically what I would call like the homeless industrial complex. And what these cities...
That's what he said.
Is that what he calls
military industrial complex,
okay,
right?
So what these cities have decided, and I don't know exactly why, but what these cities have decided is that they are not going to solve homelessness. Instead, they're going to donate the money that they've been allocated for homelessness by the state government to a nonprofit. And the nonprofit's job is to then go and solve homelessness. The problem is there's no incentive for the nonprofit to solve homelessness because if they do, their money is going to dry up. Yep. And the people that work in these nonprofits are not doing it to help. They're doing it because they're making $200,000-$300,000, which is like a pretty good salary to
it's a great salary.
Largely do nothing, right? And so I'll give you a perfect example. In Oakland, there's a problem with dumping trash. So you know how like there's 1-800-JUNK, but then there's all these smaller trucks that are like, we'll clean up your trash for you or whatever, right? So they come in, they pick up your junk, and then now they just dump it on the streets of like random parts of Oakland. Okay, so this is a problem. So the city of Oakland says we're going to solve the problem. So what they do is they give, I think the grant recently was like $1.3 million to this organization whose job it is to go clean up the trash. Never mind the fact that the guy that runs this is married to one of the city councilmen of Oakland, but leave that aside for 1 second. There's another group called Urban Compassion Project. You should look these guys up. They're super legit, UCP. It's run by this woman named Supriya and this guy who's formerly incarcerated. They're really, really good. They actually go and clean up trash. They don't receive any money from the city. And they just get volunteers and go clean things up. They found out that the organization that is getting money from the city is actually blocking them from cleaning up the trash because if there is no trash on the street, then they're not going to get their $1.3 million from the city. Yep. It's straight up corruption. Yep. It's all that's happening is these nonprofits are siphoning money from the cities and then they're not incentivized to actually do anything about it. There's one in San Francisco called TDLC that's taken several $100 million from the city over the last 20, 30 years. And their job is to get homeless people off the streets. And there's no reporting. There's no accountability. There's no measurements. It's just like, here's a bunch of money, go and solve the problem. And, you know, guys like us, we say, oh, like a nonprofit that's helping homeless people. That sounds great. I would love for my tax dollars to go there, but it's become completely corrupt, for lack of a better term. And that's why the money that we're spending on homelessness goes up and the amount of homeless people go up. Yeah. The inverse should be happening.
Yeah. And I guess when you think about like the focus of like how you're running, there's obviously so many things to address in California, like any state. What do you kind of want to focus your time and energy on?
3 things: housing, energy, education.
So let's start with housing.
Okay.
We've been told by plenty of real estate people that it's impossible to build in the city of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
How do you solve that?
Yeah. Just to set the table, Elon, going back to him for 1 second, whatever you think of the guy, Tesla is a company based in California. He wanted to build Gigafactory. He ended up going to Texas. That's 22,000 blue collar, 6-figure factory jobs that went to Texas that should have been in California.
Yeah. Wow.
DoorDash, we all use, started at Stanford, $150 billion company based in California, employs thousands of people. They wanted to launch this new autonomous delivery vehicle thing, and they applied for a permit to get it reviewed in California. Not only did the permit not get approved, it didn't even get a review. So they went to Arizona. They opened up an R&D center, 300 6-figure jobs in Arizona when the company is based in California. Yeah. So jobs are leaving because you can't build shit here, to your point. Okay, how do you solve that problem? There's 2 big problems. One, just to nerd out a little bit, there's something called CEQA, the California Environmental Quality Act. This was passed in the 70s when Reagan was governor, before we had like a lot of other stringent environmental regulation. And it's, in theory, it's a good thing. Okay, it prevents California environmental quality, but actually what's happening is it's being used as a tool of extortion by NIMBY groups, by environmentalists to stop anything from getting done. So I'll give you 2 ridiculous examples. One is this high-speed rail that right now is basically just like a thought in all of our minds. We have spent $600 million on CEQA paperwork for this high-speed rail that does not exist. Lawyers, consultants, accountants, $600 million on the freaking paperwork for CEQA to build nothing. Another obscene CEQA example is up in UC Berkeley. They were building student housing. There's this empty parking lot, like plot of land that they were going to build student housing on. And the environmental groups didn't want them to do it for whatever reason. So they sued UC Berkeley under CEQA and they won. Mm-hmm. And the justification that the judge used was that the voices of the students talking that are going to live there, those voices count as sound pollution under CEQA because it's polluting the air of the sound of the air. And so the housing never got built. Wow. So this is the level of stupidity that we're dealing with.
So is it just stupidity, or is it like, is there like a grift in the background?
So I mean, I don't mean to interrupt, but Jeffrey Sachs, who's like that international policy thinker, he's been around for decades. His whole point in kind of federal government is the bureaucrats are the deep state that keep the corruption going.
It's a good answer.
Like everyone thinks the deep state is this like cabal of people that are like planning,
smoky back rooms.
Yeah. He's like, it's the bureaucrats. They just wait out at administration after administration and keep their, $300,000 to $500,000 salary at the federal level.
Yeah.
And they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And they keep the grift. Is that the same thing happening at the state level?
Guess who the biggest employer in the state of California is?
I wouldn't know.
State of California?
The state of California.
Yeah.
To your point, exactly. They are 275,000 people that work for the state of California, and they don't give it. I shouldn't say they all don't give a shit. A lot of them don't give a shit.
Yeah, because they work 20 years, they get their pension,
and that's it.
And they're good.
And they don't care about getting things done. And here's the bet.
So how do you solve that?
Here's the bet that, okay, how do I solve that? Is that there's something called SEIU 1000, which is the biggest union of civil service workers. I am not taking any union money, and I'm not taking any union endorsements. And I'm the only Democrat that's doing that. So the SEIU 1000, the CTA, which is California Teachers Association, a lot of the construction unions, they're all donating to all the existing Democratic candidates. Not only are they donating for them, they're all fighting for those guys' the endorsements. And when you talk about building affordable housing, but then you take the endorsement of someone, labor costs are like 60% of the cost of building something. You're never going to reduce labor costs if you take the endorsements of the labor unions. And so I just don't buy it. And so I knew that the only way that I'm actually going to instill change is by not taking their endorsements. So how do I change the bureaucratic nature? Is I don't take their money so that when I get in office, I have the ability to be flexible and make changes. And by the way, I want to be clear, like, my guess is that most of the people that work for the civil service are not bad people. They just don't, there's no other jobs available for them. So they go end up working for the state government. What I would like to do is actually bring jobs back to California for the private sector that pay more money, that are safer, et cetera, more interesting work, so that they have other options. I don't want them to be without a job, but I want them to be working on something that's interesting, not be relying on the state government as a source of employment, which is what's happening today.
Yeah, I think one of the challenges we see as just business owners in the state, it's not business friendly. And
at all.
When you talk to people who are like pro-business, and the perception of pro-business in California is MAGA.
Yeah.
At this point.
Right.
That's how people view it. Like you care about money.
Yeah.
You care about, building something.
Yeah.
It's like San Francisco's perception now because of this administration is MAGA. Because they're all at the White House all the time. I mean, the AI summit that just happened or whatever just happened with MBS this week, all the tech guys were all there. So like, that's the perception of like innovation, building has this like negative connotation to it. And so if that's the cultural belief, then the idea of like giving permits for housing and the idea of being more pro-business become like pretty tough things to sell.
I mean, this is a Democratic problem nationally. It's not just a California problem.
Yeah.
Democratic Party started criticizing wealth, started criticizing innovation, started criticizing business, and now we've lost them. And so the reason that all the tech guys and all the business guys go to the White House for everything is because they have no choice left. At least there used to be two parties. And by the way, a lot of these tech guys used to be Democrats.
Yeah.
It's that the Democratic Party basically said a big FU to these guys. So now they have no choice but to go to the Republican side.
Yeah.
So I think the Democratic Party, I mean, we could talk about California or nationally, but I think the Democratic Party has done a horrible job of catering to people that actually create jobs. And so as a result, all the job creators are like, screw you, I'm going to the Republican side.
Yeah.
Now, should they have more integrity and loyalty? Maybe, like, fine, that's a reasonable argument. But if you're not going to actually instill policies that support job creation and you're actively going to criticize anyone that's trying to build anything, and not just big businesses, small businesses. I mean, like, we're criticizing anybody that's trying to create something, even if you're employing 5 people.
Yeah.
And I think that's a horrible look for the Democrats.
Yeah. So, when you talk about housing and you talked about the unions, one of the things is like, all right, so let's say you become governor. What would you actually be able to do to change the trajectory on housing?
Yeah. Okay, so the first thing is CEQA, right? We talked about that.
Yeah.
So we got to dramatically weaken that. And the governor, CEQA is controlled by a 5-person board. Each have 5-year rotating terms. So the governor can actually appoint people to that. So you weaken the enforcement of it. So that's a very tactical thing the governor can do.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I want to be clear, like, I'm not anti-union. I'm certainly not if the 3 of us want to get together and negotiate our wages with someone, we should have the right to do that. I think the challenge is that sometimes the leadership of the unions behave in a way that's actually not productive for them. So there's something called like prevailing wage law. You know what that is?
No.
Basically, it says that there's certain minimums. It's like a very high version of the minimum wage in California that says that if you want to hire someone to do a certain job, you have to pay them a prevailing wage. Yep. The problem is that non-union labor is also paid that same prevailing wage. And the cost of labor of a particular project is anywhere between like 40 to 70%. I mean, you probably know this better than I do.
Yeah.
So by basically removing monopolies, which is what happens in the state today, like any public sector job, so any job that's done for a UC campus, anything that's done for a local or state government has to use union labor and has to use prevailing wage law. And if you remove that requirement so that it's just market rate, if the union wins that bid, then great, the union wins the bid, but it should be based on market rates, not on monopoly rates. Yeah. And that would reduce the cost of construction dramatically. And then the third thing is, it's just a culture of like business friendly or not business friendly. Like we talked about with the crimes and stuff, right? Like Newsom is not advocating a business friendly climate, and the businesses can read that and they're like, F this, I'm gone. Yeah. And if the governor shows, hey, we are welcome and open to business. By the way, a great example of this is the governor of Arizona, Katie Hobbs, has done a phenomenal job of welcoming business to Arizona. And companies move there all the time. Masa-san, the CEO of SoftBank, just announced that he's putting $1 trillion in data centers, and all $1 trillion of that is going to Arizona.
Isn't Carvana based there? I think it is.
Oh, are they? I didn't even know that.
The CEO lives there.
I'm not surprised. She's done a phenomenal job, and it's just like
basic things.
You know what she does? She shows up when a new office opens. She goes to birthdays of CEOs. She is excited when a new company comes there. It's not trying to kick people out and being judgmental and all this stuff. She's just a welcoming governor, and that's what every governor should be doing.
Yeah. And then I guess moving on to education.
Yeah.
So Anna and I grew up in the public school system in LA.
Yeah.
Our children more than likely will never go to public schools in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Mine has to.
Yeah, and I think.
Can I ask why?
Special needs.
Okay.
My son.
Okay. So it's interesting you say that. We can criticize public schools. I actually find that public schools are better at special needs programs than private schools are.
Well, the private schools don't allow them.
Don't allow it or don't have it?
There's not one private school in Southern California that would allow a kid with an aid.
Yeah. Okay. So this is my point. I actually think this is exactly what I'm saying. I'm surprised. We have my children are not special need, but we've done some research onto this. And same thing with the private schools in the Bay Area is like they actually sort of turn away children with special needs, which is, I think, ridiculous. Yeah. But anyway, go ahead.
And I think like education to me is like the ultimate equalizer in life, bullet. Right? Like we were beneficiaries of it. Parents' generation was a beneficiary of it. There continues to be tons of kids that get out of, unfortunate circumstances because of education.
Yeah.
And, I had this vision of sending my kids to public school. I grew up in LA going to public school. I was like, it was an incredible experience. And then mainly because of where I live in like middle of West Hollywood, it became impossible because there's one good school. It's a charter school. We got, we're waitlisted. When we applied, we were 900 and whatever. So it's like impossible. Jesus. So, we chose the path of sending our kids to private school. And that is such an incredible cost on any family to send your kids to these schools. And when you think about that, there's physical space with competent teachers that have the ability to educate kids. I feel like we're totally not taking advantage of it. And that's just on the, call it elementary, middle school, and high school.
Yeah.
And then there's so many public colleges in California as well, probably most in the country, that feel like they're not taking advantage of what's happening in California.
Yeah.
And so like, what is your view on education?
It's a mess. We're 47th out of 50th in education now.
And is that like a standardized test scores or what is that?
Generally, in California, you're supposed to be able to read by the 3rd grade and do arithmetic by the 8th grade. And so we measure the percentage of students.
Math by 8th grade?
No, so there's a stat.
What the fuck? My 4-year-old said math.
What's even more disturbing, Derek Thompson from The Atlantic.
Yeah.
Great writer. He has a great pulse on society. And he tweeted this morning and wrote an article about it in The Atlantic that at UC San Diego, which is a good school.
Oh, I saw this.
900 kids entered without 8th grade arithmetic, simple fractions and algebra.
Maybe if they called it math instead of arithmetic, they have a better shot.
You know why it is? So to answer your question, in California, we have something called social promotion, which is...
But how do you get in UC San Diego? I know every school is impossible to get into. That's a good school.
He's about to tell you.
Oh, sorry.
No, there's something called social promotion, which says that even if you can't read by 3rd grade and do algebra by 8th grade, we'll keep moving you up a grade level. And so we have 15-year-olds that can't read because they're in 11th or 10th grade or whatever, but they've just kept moving up because they kept getting older.
I get that in the high school. How did they get into college?
Because UC San Diego's admissions qualifications have gone way down.
Okay.
Because the quality of the students applying there is not that high.
And so I guess like I'll give you a real life example. I have friends who have kids applying to college.
Yeah.
They go to the top high schools in California.
Yeah.
They have money.
Yeah.
Kids are like superstars. Like if you met them and you sat down with them, you're like, this kid's going to be president one day.
Yeah.
They're convinced they will not get into any college.
Yeah.
Right? UC San Diego, apparently.
Well, no, they won't get in because they're gonna come from a box that says they went to this high school.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
They know how to read and write. Nope.
Yeah.
That goes down. That's a knock. Oh, you know math? Get out of here. Like you're better off
being not that great.
You're better off submitting an application because I can't do the essay because I don't know how to write. You might get in. But the thing is what I want to understand from you. It's like, okay, I agree. We have to hold the school system accountable.
Yeah.
What's your thought? Like, don't you think like if your kid is a full functionally healthy 15-year-old and they don't know how to read.
Yeah.
Could that be the parents' fault?
Yes, absolutely. I don't think you can eliminate the parents from the equation at all.
Yeah.
I do think that we're not paying teachers enough, like
Really?
even close to enough.
So talk to me about that.
So teachers right now are average salary of a teacher in California is $70,000 a year.
Okay.
I don't know about you guys, but I don't know how easy it is to survive on $70,000 a year.
Not in LA or San Francisco.
Not in LA or San Francisco.
Yeah.
And importantly, over the last 20 years, their salary has only gone up 2% more than inflation. And not 2% each year, 2% in total over 20 years. So they basically haven't gotten a pay bump in 20 years. So that's why, and like I think it's fair to say, none of the three of us know anybody that has become a public school teacher in the last, 20 years.
I actually have two.
Okay, good.
And they're
Then-
special needs teachers, so they did it mission driven.
Okay, so that's really admirable. I mean, all teachers arguably are mission driven, but like my point is we all sort of compete for these other kinds of jobs. We don't think about like, oh, I'm excited to go become like a badass public school teacher. And part of the reason is compensation, but part of the reason is also impact. We're not measuring at all if a teacher is doing well or not. And I don't think, and most teachers, by the way, are perfectly fine with this. Teachers themselves would like to know how they're doing, but we're not allowed to measure it. Why are we not allowed to measure it? Because of the CTA, because the California Teachers Association doesn't allow it.
Yep.
Someone proposed, this one's crazy. Someone proposed to the CTA, would you accept a 10% raise for the top 90% of your teachers if it meant that you had to let go of the bottom 10%? And they said no.
Wow.
They're so protective of holding on to the job that providing a raise to the top 90% is something that they won't even tolerate.
And what's even more fascinating of why that doesn't even make sense to me that they wouldn't agree to it. I only know LAUSD because I've only seen the stats for LAUSD. Enrollment is considerably down.
Yeah.
And so
people are going to private schools, charter schools, they're leaving.
Yeah, or they're leaving, right? And then this was a shocking stat that kind of went viral yesterday on social media, which is declining population for young children under the age of 5 from 2005 to 2024. In San Francisco and LA, 36 and 38%.
And isn't Austin like 99% growth?
Austin's 98, Orlando 89, Raleigh 87, Charlotte 81, Dallas 81.
So basically people are starting
do the
families
math,
in those cities.
Exactly. They're starting
right?
families in those cities.
Yeah. And so if you do the math, the amount of schools and teachers we have today is going to drastically change. Not even for any other, I don't even think it's the private school thing. There's just no fucking kids.
Yeah.
Like they're just not here.
Where I grew up in the Bay Area, there's a school called Argonaut in Cupertino. It's shut down. Like they just shut down because there's no kids left.
Same in Beverly Hills. They had to shut down a very well-known school, which is massive in like the nicest part of Beverly Hills because under enrollment.
And that's Beverly Hills.
Under enrollment. Even the schools that exist currently have under enrollment.
It's because the young families can't afford to move into these towns like they used to 30 years ago. There was a cycle. And now the older folks are staying there. So they're not selling their homes and the younger folks can't afford to come. So they're all going to Austin or Nevada or whatever and starting their families there because there's no entry-level housing anymore.
If you're not tied to LA or San Francisco, or the two most expensive cities in California, like meaning you didn't grow up here, don't have family here, don't have your roots here, from a cost perspective, it really makes no sense to stay here.
It makes no sense. And so family or industry, like if you don't have one of those two things that you specifically work in entertainment or tech or something like that.
Yeah. Just visit for the beach. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like it just
up in Disneyland, ball out and get the guide.
I went to, I think I told you this when I came to LA last time, I landed at LAX, went to Santa Monica. I saw 2 cranes between LAX and Santa Monica. If you land in Phoenix or you land in Austin or you land in Shenzhen or you land in Dubai, all you see are cranes.
Yeah.
They're building everywhere except California.
Yeah.
And this is LA. This is like the home of growth and innovation and excitement and the coolest place in the world for some people. Like, how are you not building all over the place here? And I'm not knocking LA. Same thing in San Francisco. There's no cranes anywhere.
Yeah,
we're not building shit anywhere.
We talked about this on the last pod in Malibu since the fires, which were approaching a year. There's not one permit been issued.
Is that right?
For the fires.
Not a single one?
Palisades has, but not Malibu.
Unreal.
Yeah, and I think the problem is like there's such inflation in California compared to the rest of the country.
Yeah.
And one of that is the reason is housing inflation is out of control.
Yeah.
Right. Like we have not had any rent reprieve in a major way in a very long time.
Yep.
And these markets like Austin and Florida and like different parts of the country where they let people build.
Yep.
Housing is actually getting more and more affordable.
And they don't have state income tax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a double whammy, right? You're getting the benefit of it. And then one of the things you talked about is energy.
Yeah.
I travel everywhere. I'm in all corners of this fucking country. I see gas, $2.99. I see gas, $2.49, $3. I landed LAX, $6.99.
Yeah.
$7.99.
Yeah.
Then my neighborhood is $4.99. What the fuck is going on here?
It's very, very simple. Very, very, very simple.
Yeah.
Do you know what low carbon emission tax is?
Sounds like a scam.
It's a fucking scam.
Yeah.
It was passed when Schwarzenegger was governor. It says that California's gas has to be cleaner than the gas used by the other 49 states. And as a result, we add about $1.10 per gallon for this low carbon emissions tax. And our gas is not any better. I mean, like our environment's not any better. It hasn't done shit. This was passed 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's done nothing except add $1.10, which like maybe for us is not a big deal, but for someone working,
dude, if you drive
making
every
60,
day,
70 grand a year, $1.10's a lot. And then the other thing is what's called an excise tax. Now, to be fair, almost all states have excise taxes, but ours is way higher than everyone else. So between the excise tax and this low carbon emission tax, that's $2 a gallon that's added to California gas, which is why the national average is $3 and the California average is $5.
Yeah.
And we're not doing anything with the money. That's the thing that drives me crazy. It's like, okay, I pay taxes for something, but then I want something in return. Am I getting better roads and infrastructure and environment and everything because of these extra $2 I'm spending? Absolutely not. So, and one other thing I'll say about this that's interesting, bacon in California is 30% more expensive than it is in Arizona.
Wow.
The only reason for that is because the more expensive gas, because the food that we eat travels from the farm to the distribution center, to the grocery store, to our house. And all of that is done on either a diesel truck or a consumer truck. And that gas is 40% more expensive. So the cost of the food is then 30% more expensive downstream. Wow. So why is food in California so expensive? Because gas is so expensive. Why is gas so expensive? Because the government puts these bullshit fees on top that don't actually do anything.
So is there a world where you can repeal that?
Yes, 100%. You can repeal the low carbon emissions tax. In fact, the guy that wrote it now agrees that it should be repealed.
Yeah.
It's that bad.
That's insane.
So can you walk us through I actually don't even know the answer. So for anyone like me, you're governor, you have these visions of how these things need to be repealed. What's the next process? Goes through state assembly, or where does
Some
it
of
go?
them are unilateral.
Or can you do executive orders like Trump just keep signing?
So the CEQA thing where I changed the board, that's individually done by the governor.
Wow. What else can you do Trump style?
Well,
look, Nathan Hochman, who's a DA out here in LA, he came on the pod and he said there was like numerous things he could do on day one.
Yeah.
I was going to say, actually, executive order is actually good. Like there's cases where you should just do it yourself. And if you've been like, my plan with my candidacy is I'm being very open about everything that I believe and everything that I'm going to do. And if I get elected by a plurality of people, I'm going to take that as an endorsement of my policies and I'm going to do whatever I can to get those things done. Yeah. Right? Like, yes, I want to follow the process and yes, you have to establish precedent, but at the same time, this state is honestly like in a state of emergency. So we need to focus on getting shit done more than I'm not one of those guys that's like, let's bring everyone to the table. I'm the guy that's like, in the next 48 hours, we need to fix X. Either you're with me or you're not with me. And if you're with me, let's work together. And I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican or whatever, let's just get this shit done. Yeah. And if not, then screw off. I don't want to work with you.
So one of the questions that I was thinking about was in your party, the Democratic Party, you guys are giving away a lot of free shit these days.
Are we?
Yes. Or at least you're promising.
You're talking about
Mamdani, right?
The socialist with a smile is what I call him.
And so I think like if you think about the party itself, like I see, I don't know who's announced, but when you see like the names being tossed around, it's Antonio Villagrosa, it's
Katie Porter,
Kamala Harris, it's just like maybe
and then a hedge
Caruso.
fund guy I saw announced today.
Tom Steyer.
Yeah.
What fund was he from?
Farallon Capital.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah, $20 billion. He's a billionaire.
Yeah. So you start looking at all of these names, and
By
some
the way,
of them
it's
are
named after a couple islands, so like that tells you what you need to know about the guy. But yeah,
You might have one.
Yeah, Farallon Islands. Go ahead.
So you look at they're part of like there's a good chunk of those people are like the Democrat establishment,
Yeah,
which I don't think anyone wants anymore. They're not winning anywhere.
I agree with you.
So then it becomes, okay, there's got to be some new candidate, either from the Democrats or the Republican, that should potentially win. And the only real great example of that in a major way has been Mamdani,
Yeah,
which he is like made for TikTok,
yeah,
charming guy, good content,
yeah,
and then promised a lot of stuff
yeah.
that it doesn't even matter if you deliver. You just have to say it.
Yeah, because even Eric Trump, who you can imagine has the exact opposite policies in his mind, he's like, the guy's an excellent politician.
Yeah.
He was giving him credit. He goes, I don't believe in anything he says, but he's like,
I bet
fucking
you
talented
if
politician.
Trump and Mamdani got together, they would have the best time. Because they're like, these motherfuckers, idiots are believing everything we say. So like, how do you like cut above that noise? Because like, look, all your policies make sense. They're rational in thinking.
Yeah.
But politics is TikTok.
Yeah.
It's
I
not,
agree with you.
it's not, it's like, look who's getting elected.
Yeah.
Mamdani and Trump, that's who's running our country.
Yeah.
It's not the best and brightest.
Yeah, I mean, he had in Arizona, the Nelk Boys do his stump speech intro.
Yeah.
Trump did.
I don't know who that is.
So
Nelk Boys are like probably the most famous sub 30-year-old TikTok kids.
yeah, they're podcasters and TikTok kids.
but like they have that drink
Surprised I
Happy
don't know
Dad.
them. Okay.
They're huge.
Happy Dad.
They're
They
in
have-
every UFC match with Dana White.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're in that world. But
Okay.
Yeah, so like just thinking through that, like how do you?
he had Barron Trump, to be fair, tell him who the young kids are.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Barron was feeding him all these podcasters and he went on the whole circuit.
Yeah, and I think so. Like from your perspective, from a strategy standpoint,
Yeah.
and you could share what you want, but I think it's pretty interesting to see like, okay, you're basically a year out.
Yeah.
Right. And you got the thing about politics is like, it's like Labubus. You can become hot in like 3 weeks. And then if you get hot at the right time, you win.
Speaking of Mamdani, the dude was polling at 1% for like 90% of the race.
Yes.
He only peaked at the very end.
Yeah.
But let me answer your question. So, first of all, polling wise, I'm only looking at Polymarket and Kalshi because I think that's what actually matters.
Okay.
Because I don't think the polls actually tell you anything anymore. So, like on Kalshi, I'm number 4 right now out of, I don't know, 22 candidates or something. Caruso, who hasn't announced.
Okay.
Steve Hilton and
He's
Katie
part of the
Porter.
Hilton family.
No, actually,
Okay.
no relation. He's a British journalist. He worked for David Cameron.
Oh, okay.
And then now works for Fox News. I don't think he's gonna win, but anyway.
And who's won?
It alternates between Katie Porter and Rick Caruso.
Okay.
My understanding is he's actually announcing for mayor of LA. So once that happens, that'll be out. But let me answer your question. So I'm focused on 4 things: TikTok, X, podcasts, and Reddit. Those are the only 4 things that I'm doing for outreach, so to speak. So like I'm not doing CNN, MSNBC or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not also buying ad time on any of those networks because I just don't think that stuff works.
No.
So both where do I spend my time and what kind of content do I consume? And then what I think other people consume is this kind of stuff. And I get advice saying like, oh, you need to buy ad time here and there, but I don't think that stuff works. So that's one. 2 is I'm posting every single day on TikTok. It's like a rule I have. I've been doing it since July. I think yesterday was like day 100 or something. And the engagement you see is like insanely high, insanely high. I talked about this thing I want to do where I want to create 3 new UC campuses. That video got like 200,000 views in, I think it was like 48 hours or something. Just literally 2 days ago, I posted something about firefighter compensation in Palo Alto and it got 25,000 views in like 24 hours.
Yeah,
like
you're not getting that in an ad.
You're not getting that. And this is organic. I spent nothing. This was me talking to a camera for 30 seconds and it sort of blew up. Right.
Yeah.
So that is the only way that this is going to work. And I think the candidate that realizes that is going to win, and the one that isn't. And your reach here is probably more than what MSNBC gets in a night, right? Like it's going to be dramatically more interesting. And I get 60 minutes talking to you guys, and it's actually fun as opposed to like wearing a bunch of makeup and talking in sound bites and whatever, which is what I would be doing on TV. So I think this is not the future, it's the current. Like this is what's happening. Yeah. And I think the candidates that are focused on the old school stuff are not going to work. The other thing is they're all fighting each other on those older networks. Like the median age of the other candidates is 64. Yep. So they're all fighting for the same ad time and the same cable news coverage. Meanwhile, I'm enjoying sort of this part of the dialogue, which is much more interesting.
I have an insane campaign strategy.
Go for it.
If he's prefacing it with insane, it must be ridiculous.
I'm excited.
No, it's not. It's not ridiculous.
I'm super excited.
Because his base case is insane. So if he's going to say,
I'm super excited for this.
I'll tell you where it comes from. So I was with in my business, someone that is in the collectible space.
Okay.
Big seller, hundreds of millions of dollars in the collectible space. This is like 4 or 5 months ago. We're at his warehouse. And he's got everything, every like Funko Pop of every whatever. And he goes, part of my strategy is like, when you hear like, oh, Terry Bradshaw got cancer, I go buy up all the Terry Bradshaw shit and then
wait for him to die.
Oh my God. And terrible. I was like, whoa.
It's like the end of life insurance.
Yeah, and this is a dark shit. So here's my strategy for you. Oh God,
now where are you going with this?
So the inspiration for this strategy is Spencer Pratt.
Okay. He's a genius.
Okay, there we go. We're on the same page here. There's something, unfortunately.
Wasn't he running at one point?
No. He just because
just
the fires got the attention.
Yeah.
And now he's like a national figure in this fire rebuild.
Good for him.
And so when I think about, it's fucked up to say, but between now and November, something bad's going to happen in California.
Yeah.
And you got to be all over it as the voice of like why this happened and how to prevent it in the future. Maybe it's a fire, maybe it's earthquake, maybe it's a God knows what, something happens. And like, it's morbid to even think that that's the strategy, but like,
what's the line? It's like, never let a tragedy go to waste or something.
Yeah.
Some line like that, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, and it's true. And unfortunately in politics, like that's how you get fame, right?
Yeah.
That's how people recognize you is because I can remember the moments when politicians I can remember the moment Rudy Giuliani became Rudy Giuliani. Well, it was after 9/11.
I mean, after 9/11, which gave George Bush the free reign to get in all these wars, was that one speech above the rubble.
Yeah.
Where he said, I hear you.
Yeah.
And they're going to hear us.
Yeah.
And then they're like, here's $3 trillion and kill a bunch of people.
Yeah. But like, guess what? Got him reelected, right?
I know it did.
So my point is that like something's going to happen because we want change when tragedy happens, right? Only when it affects you do you wake up one day and be like, I want change. And that was what made me become way more conservative when I couldn't walk outside my house.
Yeah.
I can't walk my kids out at night. Can't go anywhere. The store across the street doesn't have anything. Everything's locked up. And I was like, fuck this. I'm over all this shit. My champagne socialism is over. And now I'm moving on to a more conservative point of view. So, and this is a part of the reason why I've become red pilled. In our WhatsApp chat 3 weeks ago for the neighborhood, someone's like, hey, there's someone with a drone on the street. I don't think they're in the neighborhood. And everyone's like, who is it? Who is it? Whatever. Call the police. The police like, if you don't get us a license plate, I can't stop the guy from flying a drone. I'm sorry. The old lady gets the license plate. LAPD runs it, tracks it down. Chilean gang.
Yeah.
They use the drones to look at the entrance points of your houses. So they were in people's backyards looking at, are these doors open? Are these things happening? And this is the middle of the day during the week at 2:30. that is like how emboldened people
and they know it's a Chilean gang.
Yes. And so the LAPD was like, great. So they tracked it down and like realized that like it was connected to it. And I think those are the things to me, like, you know, the amount of people in LA that we know that have been robbed is insane.
Yeah. I don't know what it's like up north. In LA, you can't go to dinner with 5 different people that hasn't had a break-in.
Really?
Amongst our friends. We're not talking like
And
randoms.
this is when everyone has like security systems and all that stuff. Unreal.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
Not one.
Yeah.
And you know what the real problem is? Like, it's one thing, okay, you get, this is a small business problem, is one thing you get broken into, they don't recover the goods, but they know that they're not going to catch the criminals. So there's no deterrent. What you actually need is a deterrent. The criminals need to think that if I do this thing, there's a high likelihood I'm going to get caught. And then I won't do that thing.
Yeah, of course.
But if the criminal's thinking is I'm going to do this thing and there's a high likelihood I'm not going to get caught, then they're going to do the thing, right?
Yeah, why
so
not?
like they know that the cops are never going to catch them, and if they do, the judge is going to put them back out on the street.
And the gangs have
2 days later.
The gangs have gotten smart. They send 16 and 17-year-old kids through the robberies because juvie, they get released immediately.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
So the crime boss is obviously older. They're sending the kids to go do the robbery because they're like, even if you get caught, you're going to get released.
I mean,
Just
there's
go do it.
articles in local papers around crime tourism.
In San Francisco, we have something called drug tourism.
Yeah.
Where I talk to some of these people on like Market Street and stuff. They come from Portland and other cities, and I'm like, "What are you doing here?" And they're like, "Well, one, I don't know this, but apparently the meth is better, whatever that means. But two is they know that in San Francisco, you're not going to get arrested. You're going to be given money as like a drug user. It's like they're coming to San Francisco because it's like a great drug town. What the fuck? Like this is the kind of disincentive we need, right? We need to actually be spreading the message that San Francisco is not a good drug town. If you come here, you're going to get arrested. You're going to get kicked out in a one-way bus pass back to wherever you came from. Like that's the message that needs to be sent as a deterrent for people not even thinking about coming here or not even thinking about committing crimes.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, we can get into more policy, but given your background, clearly successful, you said you sold 2 businesses, and given that you went to that school in San Jose for high school, I know that cohort of kids, they've all done really well for themselves. Why'd you want to go into politics? Because I think that's the biggest lacking thing in American politics.
Yeah.
Can't speak to other countries. Smart people don't go in.
Like people like you normally don't enter politics.
I've been complaining about politics for a long time, And I genuinely felt like it was time to put up or shut up. I just turned 40 this year. And I just sold the second company. And so this is the first time in my life that I'm not working because I didn't go to the acquirer. So I was unemployed. I had a milestone birthday. Newsom is termed out. I hate all the other candidates. All the forces aligned. And I was like, if I'm not going to do it right now, I can't keep bitching about politics and the Democratic Party in California and all this stuff if I'm not actually willing to do something about it. So this is me, putting my money where my mouth is.
Yeah. Because there's not a lot of upside. Just objectively looking at it.
Thank you.
There's a lot of downside, right?
The upside is that, you can fix the state. And if I don't win, then hopefully I get other people to think this way.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people think this way. And if I can get some of the candidates to think this way, even if I'm not the winner, that's a win in my book.
Yeah.
By the way, I will say one thing, which is like, a lot of politicians use the governorship of California as a stepping stone to go do something else, right? Like Newsom's running for president, Katie Porter wants to be in the Senate, whatever. I wasn't born in America, so I can't run for president. I don't want to go to the cabinet or the Senate or anything. And I don't come from a political background, so I don't have any allegiances or loyalties to this group or that group or whatever that got me to this point. So if I get elected, I can piss off whoever I need to piss off because I don't come with any allegiances and I'm not going to some other job. And that's not true of any of the other candidates. Like I would publicly make a pledge saying, I'm not going to run for any other office. I could say that. I will say that right now. And none of the other candidates will be willing to say that. And the problem is that when they get into the office, they're going to say, well, I don't want to piss off this group because I want to be a senator or whatever. Yeah. And then California suffers.
Yeah, if you're a career politician.
If you're a career politician, nothing happens. So this is me kind of saying like, forget career politics. Like let's let someone else get in the race.
It's similar to college football. Like this is the time where coaches are all getting poached. Like Lane Kiffin right now, he's the name of the country. Yeah. Florida and LSU want him. He did an interview this morning on ESPN, and he didn't answer shit. They were like, "Are you going to Florida or LSU?" He goes, "No, I'm focused here." Da da da. I'm like, "We know you're going to LSU.
We know you're full of shit.
It's just about money. That's all it is.
They're going to pay him $150 million to go to one of those two schools.
Well, it's really exciting what you're doing, and it's very noble because I think it's very frustrating, the political kind of climate in the country.
Yeah.
And I think it's noble that you're really going for it. If people want to get involved, get a hold of you, how do they do that? What's the best way?
Probably my website. It's just EA4ca.com. So Ethan Agarwal for California, EA4ca.com.
Okay. And then
I'm on X, I'm on Instagram, everything. My handle is just my name, Ethan Agarwal.
Okay. Yeah, we'll post that and share it so people can follow along on the journey. And I think the other piece that's pretty fascinating is that like when you start this journey, it's just like you doing it, right?
Yeah.
And then you build like a team over time based on like traction, I assume. Is that how it works?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, my first company, man, like I started it in my living room in my apartment in New York, sitting on the couch. And 3 years later, we had 1 million paying members in 20 countries, 10 million downloads. And like, I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that like I've seen things start from nothing, from like one of us sitting in a room on a laptop to like building something. And so, yeah, already, we've caught a reasonable amount of traction after a few months, but yeah, it's fun. Like, and this is what California is awesome, right? Like this is what's so cool. You sit here on a couch and a laptop in a couple of months or a couple of years from now, you've built something super big.
I mean, it's the most insane place on earth. When you think about what's happening in San Francisco, amazing. I was at my board meeting and was with all my investors, and they're telling me stories of like, they're backing an 18-year-old kid, a 20-year-old kid. And like, they didn't even go to college, half these kids. And they're just like so smart. And it's the only place, like America in itself is the jackpot. And then within America, California is like mega millions for everyone, because anyone could win the lottery here. Literally anyone can win. And so it is such an incredible place, but you got to like change the mindset of the leaders here, because it doesn't feel like they want you to win.
Can I say one last thing on that point? High-speed rail is, I believe we should build high-speed rail because I think transportation is good and I think facilitating infrastructure is good. But there's one other reason that I think we should build high-speed rail, which is I think California should continue to be about the future as opposed to just like solving problems that we have today. And when I look at, on X, you see videos of like China or Germany or Japan, and you see their trains going 300 miles an hour and look at how stable everything is. We need that in California. Like high school kids should be writing essays about the transportation in California. I went on this train and it was going 300 miles an hour and I went from LA to San Francisco, and like that inspired me to think about this. And I thought about this other thing. It's like when we went to the moon the first time, right? Like, did we need to go to the moon? It didn't fulfill something, but
did we?
But did we even go? Or we did, depending on who you ask. The Earth is still flat or whatever. Like, when we went to the moon, it did more than just take us to the moon. It inspires a whole generation.
Can I tell you what my kids do on Saturday? We stopped raining for 4 hours. We walked down Fairfax Boulevard, very busy street. My kids, for 4 blocks, counted how much poop there was.
See, and I want your kids.
They're like 1 poop, 2 poop, 3 poop, 4 poop. By time, I'm not even joking. We walked 3 or 4 blocks, 24 poops.
Yeah, your kids should be.
Is that human or dog?
I mean, it's both.
Your kids should be like counting how many centimeters off the ground this train that's flying at 300 miles an hour should be floating.
I'll give
that's what's exciting.
We're counting poop.
My almost 4-year-old daughter counts how many Waymos she sees.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
She's like, there's no one driving.
That's very, very cool. I have a 4-year-old also. Same thing. For some reason, they've decided that our house is a parking lot. So the Waymo that's not being used parks outside our house. Yeah. But we go in and we look at it. I talk to him about LiDAR and all the cameras and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's cool. That's why we need to build something like high-speed rail.
Yeah.
Is like we need to inspire people. California is about the future. It's not just like fucking potholes and like poop on the street. It should be about exciting things that we can do. Because we have the brain power, we have the money, we have the know-how, we have the smart people, we have everything. We just need to get out of our way and build this shit.
Yeah. It's tough. I get it. Well, congratulations on running. we're here to support.
Yeah, I mean, it's like for any endeavor, starting is the hardest part. So congrats even to start.
Thank you. Thank you guys.
And yeah, good luck. And then keep us, come back in like, I don't know, the beginning of the year. We want to hear the updates. I'm sure you'll start meeting some interesting people.
I've met some amazing people.
Yeah, maybe I want to know how the elite, how they corner you, what favors you have to do that you have to. I want to know how it goes down. When do the elite come to you and say, we can make you governor, but you have to do this?
The Illuminati? Yeah. We'll see.
You know what I really want you to discover for me, regardless of how the race goes? How these senior politicians view a Rogan type. Because he speaks from the hip. Whether you agree with them or not, he's trying to expose fraud, corruption across all government agencies, and he's coming for everyone's throat.
You know what the real fear of Rogan is? Is most of them cannot sit down for 3 hours to talk. That's the real fear, is that they have sound bites ready for every topic that's like 1 to 3 minutes, but they are not ready to sit down for a 3-hour unstructured conversation. And their teams will not let the principal sit down for 3 hours to talk about anything. Yep. That's why they don't go on Rogan.
No, yeah, I understand that. They're not equipped to.
But how sad is that? You can't talk for 3 hours?
Because Rogan always says hours 2 to 3 is when I get people to actually be normal.
Yeah.
And actually speak freely.
Totally.
No, I'm saying do they have fear of a personality like that? In terms of like what he's exposing, like he was talking about in the 70s, the Franklin Templeton scandal, how they were busing kids to DC, and it's all Wikipedia. So it's not like fake shit.
Yeah.
But no one talks about it.
Yeah.
And you could hear Brokaw and Dan Rathers in the 80s talking about the Reagan and Carter administration hiding this.
Yeah.
They're shipping kids to DC to get boned by politicians. And it's just all documented.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Yeah.
He played the clips from NBC in the 80s.
Okay.
But it's all like hidden, and he's exposing all this, and all this is documented. This isn't like bullshit like the moon landing. I was joking. Like you can have your conspiracy theories on that, but this stuff isn't
I didn't
bullshit.
know that. Okay. I don't know. I think they are terrified of him.
Yeah.
They're terrified of anyone that's calling it out. And I think that's good. I think we need some checks and balances.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, best of luck.
Thank you.
I'm excited to hear the stories. I'm sure the stories are going to be good of the people you're going to meet. There's some wackos in the state.
There's some wackos. There's some incredible people.
Yeah.
I've been super grateful so far at how cool everyone's been.
I haven't met all those people, but I've met the wackos. All right.
Thanks a lot, you guys. I really appreciate it.